For some complex turning operations, difficult access may result in a need for multiple B-axis orientations. DFS now has the ability to combine turning orientations through the use of simultaneous B-axis turning. This is done through the use of the B-axis lead angle and can be set with limits between a maximum and a minimum range. The benefits are minimized tool changes, one tool with unlimited positioning options, and better finish with no dwell marks, witness marks, blends, or steps. So to do this demo, we have a folder here that has several files in it. The main file being your assembly, so if you take that and drag that into your SolidWorks window. We also have a post, this Okuma Multis if you need a B-axis post, and we have a tool crib that has the tools used in this demo, so you can import those. I'll start by doing that. I'll run up to the managers and go to the tool manager. The tools crib is active. I'll import. I'll go to that simultaneous B turning folder that's in my rolling demo, and that has the XML I need, and that will bring in 3 tools. So that way you know when you run the features that are already programmed, you're going to get the proper tooling that was designed into these features. Speaking of those features, we have 3 already programmed for you. They're all based on a sketch. If I go over here and look at the turn sketch, you can see that it goes from the center of the face all along this undercut on the face, along the outside, another undercut, and a little bit up onto this shoulder. So that's a pretty complex profile to try to cut with one feature. So we'll take a look at a couple different approaches here. First of all, we have turning with the vertical tool, and that just comes in with a lathe tool coming from the X direction or southwest orientation. And it starts cutting. We're going in the positive direction here. It starts cutting this little finish pass, and as soon as it tries to round this undercut, I have undercut checking turned off. You can see the gouge. And then as it moves along, it does a better job, and it's rubbing down the front there. If not gouging, it's dragging along the front. Okay, we're asking an awful lot of that tool to expect it to cut that profile. So let's try a different tool. This time we have a turn with a fixed B. Let me show you what that looks like in a little more detail. I'm going to go to the tool. You can see that we have this profiling cutter set on a B angle. Look at the B angle here. The B angle is set at 45 degrees, a neutral tool at 45 degrees. So we ought to be able to get back into that undercut now. Here it comes again in the positive direction. And yes, indeed, it can go into that undercut, but then as it cuts along the OD, it backs into this shoulder here and it gouges this quite badly. Once it gets beyond that, although the part's already ruined, it can cut the rest of the profile. Okay, so clearly we're not going to be able to have one tool at one orientation that can cut this entire profile, and that's where the simultaneous B-axis comes into play. Of course, your machine has to support this, but I have now turning with simultaneous B. I'll go to the op list, look at the attributes here. First of all, let's look at the tool. I'm using a rounded grooving tool. It has a full round on it. I'm using the B-axis simultaneous, and that is set to true. The lead angle that I want, and that's relative to the surface normal. So this is going to be 20 degrees off of the face, whatever that face orientation might be. But I have set limits, so that tool can't go beyond my B-axis limits. I can say don't tilt past 65 degrees nor come up beyond 90 degrees. And let's see this in action. So the tool comes in once more from the going into the positive direction. You can see that it leads in, and as soon as it engages the work, it assumes that 20-degree lead angle. And now as it moves around that radius, you can see that lead change, but you can see it doesn't go very far. It's hit that 65-degree limit, but that's enough to get into this undercut. Of course, you can adjust that limit if necessary. And then it straightened up a little bit as it went across that flat. As it starts to go up this shoulder now, you can see it try to maintain that 20 degrees, but now it's hit the 90-degree limit to keep it from over traveling. And again, it assumes that 20-degree angle, goes over until it hits the 65-degree limit and down the face. Okay, so it's a very sophisticated way for us to get one tool path and a continuous finish pass along a pretty complex shape with simultaneous B-axis.